All right, a very good morning. We are back for the Friday's edition of the Kokoliriko show. We are 15 minutes past 7 a.m. My name is Federick Dramadri. Thanks for joining us here in this show. But I will be really moving up to the hour of 10 minutes to 9 a.m. And I will be unpacking a lot of stories that will be really here for you. For those of you who are following us on YouTube, we say thank you very much. You should be able to really comment or share your experience, or even tell us where you are watching us from, and that's very, very important, so that we're able to locate you, we're able to know who is watching us from where, and we see that at least every region is balanced in terms of dissemination of information. What we bring for you here in this morning, you will be able to really get a leaf from some of the issues, or you will be able to get a glance of what you need to do and how we should be able to improve the economic status of our country, and also really look at how people can productively engage in several activities that are trickling down. And you may be aware that a lot of issues are happening in this region, but also across the country, but also moving further beyond the continent. So many things are happening out there. We'll be really unpacking them in this show. But first things first, I want to appreciate those who are watching us within Arua City. You are very, very much welcome to this show. And I'm meant to understand that you have received a new RCC, that is Jimmy Kumakech, who comes from Agago district. And he will resume his work by Monday of a rural district, who has also been promoted to that slot. And there are many other mini transfers that we may not really go much into. Akelo is moving away from Arua City, and we're yet to see where she'll be heading to. And that is one of the serious stories within the city. And many more other issues that are happening, we'll be able to break them out for you. For those who are watching from Vura constituency, that is Arua district, we say thank you very much. We hope a lot is being done, because that Vura is a food basket for Western region. We hope that slogan has still remained there. And many times the district leaders have ever said that it is a model district. We hope that said by the district officials that Arua district is a model district should be experimentary, okay? It should be really seen by what is happening, and not really by words of mouth, or look at the production level, because we have also registered a very good number of malnutrition cases that are coming from Vura district or Arua district, and that is what we are saying. We want to see that the district being a model district should be seen by action, not by choice of words. And those are some of the things that we are seeing. And in Zombo, we are seeing a lot of issues coming around, and we clearly understood that grasshoppers have already started landing into that district, and many young children are already finding themselves into those night movements. And this is where really stakeholders are coming up and really warning parents and learners about the consequences attached to this. Remember, there were cases of rape, cases of teenage pregnancy, cases of child marriages that were registered last year during the swarm of grasshoppers, okay? When they come like that, many times people want to go and use this little electricity or some of their poles, and they go and harvest these insects from that side. And those are some of the issues that come. Many women at night, they move with men and so on. You don't know what is happening there. At some point, some people are claiming some people's children, and those are some of the things that happen at night. So let's be vigilant as we go for food, okay? as we go at night to harvest these insects, we need a really serious engagement with communities and tell them what they are supposed to do, because also connecting these lights to the electricity poles and so on is is actually illegal, because many times people do not really get the rightful licenses from the agencies that are dealing in supply of electricity. Talk about Kokoliriko, and they have always come out to say a lot of things about how people continue to vandalize or how people continue to illegally connect to the electricity. And those are some of the things we need to really look at critically if we want to address the issues of gender-based violence, domestic, talk about many other cases under the domestic violence and prevention. Okay, if we want to really move away from that, we need to look at those critical issues. Okay, look at the behavioral change and also other issues that happen around these kind of things. And away from Zombo district, we come to Nebi Municipal. Nebi Municipal, we appreciate those people who are watching us there, and there are so many issues that happen there. The issues to do with the construction of the market. Remember, the district approved a plan, and the Fiscal Development Plan Committee was there to also oversee how really the market should be able to be done. There was a committee that was constituted to ensure that whatever is put on a plan is something that will be feasible and really that can be constructed under the World Bank's 3.1 billion Ugandan shillings that has been advanced to the municipal. And a few months ago, we saw the authorities coming to see what was actually going on in the district, looking at the land, availability of land, and also alternative land to relocate the vendors. They were able to say it's okay, and then we are yet to see whether the construction can take off. And those are some of the things. Remember, because of the dilapidated market, a lot of revenue has been lost by Nebi Municipal Council. This is because many people feel like vendors do not really go much into the market because of its dilapidation. People fear to really trade in those outdated buildings, but also talking about the attitude of some of the people. They want to really do business on the streets and see to it that before even somebody accesses the main market, he or she gets to his product. Okay, and tapping all these business persons who want to buy things by the roadside limits the council from getting revenue, but also the aspect of garbage management, because many of these markets that were constructed in 19-something years ago had no proper plan for garbage management, waste, and also the disposal of waste. So many of the things. And if you look at the markets generally, those that were constructed in the early 90s and so on, they lack several structures, okay, facilities. Talk about toilet, talk about breastfeeding corners, talk about daycare for those who want to go with their babies and keep them aside. Okay, those are some of the things that are lacking. Even talking about garbage management, for people to collect garbage somewhere and it is picked from the market, it becomes very difficult, and this makes people to throw this rubbish anyhow and so on. It makes the whole situation very bad, and where the new markets are heading to the, maybe talk about the modern market structures, things are a bit better because it is spacious, it is well planned, it is modern, and many times vendors are zoned. And it makes work easier for the tax collectors to really move to these places. But also the renting out these spaces becomes easier for them to allocate them instead of just seeing vendors for like that without any arrangement. It makes work difficult for somebody to maybe enter the market to start collecting taxes. And those are some of the avenues to increase taxes, but also the new facility will be able to have a constant electricity supply, but also have the components of CCTV cameras and TV sets that people will be able to watch, radios connected and so on for easy communication. The storage building is expected to be really worth 3.1 billion Ugandan shillings, and that is a plus in case the municipal secures that funding. And those are some of the things. And look at the taxi park that was being constructed to ensure that the bus terminal, the taxis, and also many other vehicles are parked. That is to decongest the street parking that is currently really a very big burden to municipal. And if people really continue to or expedite the processes of constructing those buildings at the terminal, this will really take off by the end of this year. And that's what the heads of the council are trying to explain to us, because it was a joint venture between the business persons and the municipal council. The municipal council offered the land, and the business persons are expected to really do the needful by constructing some of the facilities. Talk about toilet, that they will be able to that they will be also be able to collect the monies themselves, but also talk about some of the structures like shops, hotels, and so on around the taxi park. Those are some of the things that the local government felt if they are able to say it with the business persons, it will be of good importance. But because of the ideology, you know, the attitude of the people want to see whether they are going to earn from this kind of thing, and also look at what is it that they will be able to get from it. And this really negative mindset really dragged the process. Since 2021 up to date, they have not really completed the works. But the good news is that there has been an effort raised with the business community to ensure that they now come back and understand the niche or the beauty of engaging in that kind of business. And many have appreciated. They have now resumed the construction works, and this is where they are going to really get some good amount of money. And the other aspect of revenue that the municipal has failed to tap is the issues of having an animal auction and a slaughter slab, an abattoir for the municipal. Because the municipal does not have an auction, many people really trade with the animals on the streets. And that is one revenue that the municipal has been able to lose each and every time. So municipal authorities, wake up and increase your revenue sources through some of these kind of things. And those are some of the things that can take you very far. Moving to Pakwach district, a lot of things are happening around the gateway to West Nile. Okay, Pakwach is the first district that ushers you to West Nile region, but because of the businesses, the nature of transit that happens along the district, and where every vehicle is ushered through this, the cases of HIV infections are very high, and this is attributed to the several stopovers by these drivers. So in case really there are designated places that are put to ensure that these people stop and they are able to not really interact so much with the community, that will be a very great deal. And many others that are really pertinent to ensure that a lot is done around this. For those who are watching us from Madi sub-region, we appreciate you. Those from Jumani, those from Moyo, and those from Obongi, we appreciate you so much, and welcome you to this show. But also those in Madi Okolo district, we don't leave you behind. because you are always there really watching and sharing a lot of ideas that can make us really proud as people in this region to learn from. And also those from Terego district, we say thank you, and those in Maracha, we don't leave you behind, but also Koboko district. Those are some of the key areas that we really appreciate you for the interventions that you are taking along the borderlines. Because if you have good relationship with the neighbors across the borders, then we'll have peace. We'll have peace continuously. And those in Yumbe, we say thank you very much. That will really be able to reach you one time again to see to it that the service delivery points are really well equipped, and the people are able to accept that services are being delivered in public places in a very conducive manner, and very friendly, conducive and accommodative manner. Remember, what people want is service being delivered. Whether the service delivered is of quality or quantity is what matters a lot, and that is where we really want to appreciate the government officials, those who have been put at the service delivery points for the extra mile work that they are doing. Thank you very much. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be really moving into some of the other issues that are happening within the region. And remember, this is the last edition for this week. You should be able to have a comment said and share with us where you are watching us from. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Football, our boys, our style. Start Times UPL new season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish from Kukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL, our league. Go for it!
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Okay, welcome back from that commercial break. We are back with the stories that are making headlines in Western region, and there are so many, by the way. And yesterday, so many issues happened, and you should be able to really understand that this nation is not really an easy one in terms of legal proceedings and also the issues to do with the conflict with the law. And as I say, that there were attempts to make sure that Yovan Adriko, the member of parliament for Arua district, is produced again to look for, to make sure that he's pulled out of jail. And this attempt was futile, and this is because of so many issues that happened. Remember, this honorable member of parliament was accused of not failing to pay, of actually failing to pay 55.67 million Ugandan shillings to Jubilee Financial Institution, and this is one thing that was really serious. And in an attempt to file a case, or in an attempt to file an application to ensure that he's produced and really had some freedom given to him by Madira and Company Advocates. That is Jim Madira, who is the advocate who was trying to look for alternatives to pull him out, the lawyer who championed this. And you realize that this did not yield any fruit. Yesterday at Arua Regional Arua High Court, which is seated here in Arua City, this was something that did not really yield. And currently, he is expected to continue serving the 6 months that was already placed on him last week. And that means the member of parliament will have to serve for these 6 months. He will not be able to move for any duty outside the country. He will not be able to really move to parliament within these 6 months. And remember, he was expected to travel to Rwanda yesterday, and this really now failed because of the issues of the borrowing. Okay, the money he borrowed has really brought him some of these issues. Remember, this money was lent to the member of parliament in 2021. So between 2021 up to 2022, the financial institution alleged that the member of parliament has been dodging them, claiming that he's in Kampala when he's in Arua, and when he comes to Arua, he tells them that he has crossed to Congo. And sometimes it becomes difficult, not until they had to align with some of the community members to whistleblow whether he's around or not. And that made him netted around Odianyadri Trading Center when he was on a border trying to escape, to jump in a bus to head to Kampala. And that's how he was arrested. And this is quite unfortunate to a member of parliament. If you have already borrowed the money, you should be able to commit to service such a money, or really be, in case, if we are all human beings, in case you fail maybe to proceed with payments, you should be able to explain to such a financial institution. Dodging them provokes many people, even from your homes. If you are somebody who does not really account to your family, you cannot even be able to explain to them why some of the services are not flowing frequently, and you are dodging family members to explain to them what you are up to. It becomes difficult for people to trust you. It becomes difficult for people to understand where you are coming from, and many times there's nothing that they believe in you, and those are some of the things you will find yourself in too. And many times we have seen that people do not engage some of the partners just because the partners are not trustworthy. And this is the same thing with the money. And if you have borrowed some money and you have failed to service it because maybe of A, B, C, D, or some of the issues that maybe have made you not to do it, can you also commit, or tell such a person that I'm not going to fulfill this within this week because I have these challenges that are here. If you can reschedule. Many times I've seen financial institutions understanding some of those things, but there are some of them who do not really understand certain scenarios, and that is quite unfortunate for a member of parliament to be jailed just because of borrowing. And many times people wonder why a member of parliament could fail, actually how he could fail to offset a loan of 50 in a region of 55 million, and yet he earns close to 40 million Ugandan shillings. So those are some of the doubts that people are asking themselves. What could be the issue? Because there was no time for the member of parliament to explain a lot of things to do with that. We are yet to understand that many times when financial institutions lend money like that, they stick to the period that they have maybe agreed with the customer. And many times some of these loans are just like for a shorter period of time, and it makes work difficult for people. But for you to opt for a loan, you should be able to have avenues of how you are going to pay it, and those are some of the things that many people agree with the financial institutions to do. And if you have really agreed that you are going to pay this money using maybe your savings, maybe your salary, part of it, and so on, it should be written. It should be an automatic thing that part of my salary, maybe 10% of my salary, should be cut on a monthly basis to service the loan. It is understandable. Now, if you don't have a genuine account with such an institution, or you said you are going to pay it cash and so on, and you failed to do it, you should be able to explain why some of those things happen. But you should not be able to dodge them, because these are people who are also regulated. They are actually mandated to do that kind of service, because most of the financial institutions, the money lending institutions that are under microfinance, are regulated by the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, but there are others that are regulated by Bank of Uganda. That means if a financial institution is regulated by either of these two agencies, there's no way that you are going to say that you will dodge them around, because all this account to the Financial Intelligence Authority, okay? So they have a channel of following who is transacting what where, okay? There's a body that regulates that oversees all these kind of transactions. So whether you open 3 accounts and you declare one, you will be identified. And those are some of the things we need to understand as customers, that when we are going for loans from a financial institution, we should be having a backing, okay, a backup of an alternative source of income. In case maybe salary bounces for 2 or 3 months, how will you bridge that gap? Those are some of the things we need to look at. But also, we need to borrow within our limits that we are able to offset. Okay, if we cannot offset such an amount, don't borrow because maybe your colleagues have also gone for the same amount of money, because it may take you to another step. We have seen so many people cry, so many people dodge or are evicted, self-evicted, because they cannot really bear the temperature that comes with the pressure from these financial institutions. For instance, in Zombo, there was one called the Now. This Now financial institution brought a lot of issues for people. Many people were running away, many women were selling their utensils to offset some of those loans, because you go now, they give you now. And when they give you now, they take your national ID. But because if you don't service the money within the month that you agreed, they will just come for you now. And that is the end of now. So you will have all those kind of challenges that come by your way because you have not understood the operations of such a financial institution. You have not understood clearly their modes of behavior, their behavior with the customers, and that is where sometimes people land into these deep traps. So Jovan Adriko is still there in the cells and not cells but in jail, and he will be able to come out until next year. If we count 3 months now, we will be pushing up to March next year, and that's when he will be out of the jail. And that means it has an implication to the family, to all those dependents who were under him. Remember, most of these MPs have at least some vulnerable children that they are paying. They have other dependents of other relatives who come and stay with them. That means so many services that were going to be rented by Jovan may come to a close, and missing your family because of some of these kind of things leaves the spouses in panic, in a deep sorrow, because they have a feeling that they're missing some services. And those are things that we need to really move away from. If we are maybe borrowing loans, we need to have alternative sources to ensure that we have these kind of things. And that is what is coming currently about the issues to do with how far the court case between Jovan Adriko and the Jubilee Financial Institution that lent him the money as far as it is concerned. But also the lawyer who came to file this application was Jim Madira, who comes from Madira and Company Advocates, and those are some of the issues that are already there in the court. And I remember telling you that if you wanted a really comprehensive and many more details, you should be able to really rush to court. But that is it. We are yet to see that whether this will make the law firm to bounce back to also file another application. It doesn't prevent him from filing, but we're here to see that if this will be able to yield another fruit, because my interactions with the Jim Madira was proving that they are going to try again, because they feel like there are certain things that can be solved, because it was a civil suit, it was not a criminal suit, and it could be corrected, and the MP could be produced again. And that's where the family is trying to move to offset the loan that was borrowed, including now the penalties that has risen up to 58 million Ugandan shillings from 55, and that is what the family is trying to do. We're here to see if this will really succeed in the next couple of days or months to come, and that is the whole broad detail that we can really avail to you. Those who do not know who Adriko Jovan is, Adriko Jovan is a member of parliament for Vura constituency who stemmed down from the LC1. Okay, he was he was an LC1 in Logri sub-county, and thereafter jumped into the position of LC3. Before LC3, he was a councillor for one of the parishes in Logri sub-county. Thereafter became the LC3 chairperson of Logri sub-county, serving for 2 terms. Thereafter went to parliament just last year, 2021. During 2021 general elections, he came as a candidate on a National Resistance Movement NRM party ticket, and this ushered him with a landslide victory to go to parliament. And now he is the member of parliament for Arua district, because they have only one constituency, that is Vura, and he becomes the member of parliament for Vura constituency, that is Arua district. And if you look at the member of parliament it's from Arua district. He actually came to unseat Adzeda Gabriel Aridru, who was the member of parliament by then for Vura County, and also he was the state minister for finance, and he did a lot of things around that docket, but people felt they needed a change, and this is where really Jovan came into power. And him coming, he served for now this is the third year, okay, from swearing in. He's in the second year plus some months, and this really the issue of him going into jail was shortly after him coming for a break, and this was where he was really got. And according to reliable sources, this money was borrowed for campaigns, okay? The money was borrowed in 2021 for the campaigns for the elections, and that ushered him into the victory. But after the victory, he failed to service the loan, and that really took him into that trouble. And those are some of the things that, for those who did not know the detailed analysis of who Driko Jovan is, those are some of the things you'll be able to really study more and really understand into details. And that is it. And remember, many times the members of parliament have come into really the aid of their colleague. Remember, Pride Platinum Credit advertised one of his cars, and this car was sold off because he did not also offset some loan somewhere. And this, after selling off this car, this really brought a lot of issues. Okay, it brought a lot of issues. People were wondering why the member of parliament should be allowing those kind of things to happen. Remember, also this went up to the parliament. The speaker of parliament, Anita Monk, also came up with a lot of statements why financial institutions should be allowed to extort people at higher interest like that. And the issue was responded to by Bank of Uganda that the reserved interest on loans in Uganda is 21%. So the financial institution that is around 20 is still within the law. Okay, it is still operating within the limit, and that means even if the financial institution charges up to 21%, it is still within the limit, and that is where people have felt frustrated, because why some of these rates go up to that margin is because of the cost implication that the financial institutions are also incurring. And those are some of the things Bank of Uganda was trying to explain when the speaker demanded why financial institutions should be able to charge people high like that, and also really make the masses vulnerable, more vulnerable than what the money will be able to change their lives. And those are some of the things you should be able to understand from that kind of perspective, and why Jovan has been put behind the bars is because he failed to service those loans. And in our previous interactions with him before he was arrested, he actually explained that those were propagandas, the propagandists who were really moving around spoiling his name, and because of the political kind of issues that some people want to contest with him, they're just spoiling his name, and he couldn't allow that to go like that. And those are some of the statements that he made. And if we look at some of the issues that are around this, for quite like one full month, Jovan has been really jumping on border. Sometimes the security cars are the ones escorting him to the venues and so on, and that is because his car was already sold off. And those are some of the things that really made this honorable member of parliament really more vulnerable, and became like a lone striker in that deal. And those are things around that case. And let's move away from that. There are so many issues that are still happening within the region. We could talk much more, and many will be really exhausting them. Yumbe Town Council, that is found in Yumbe District, and which was created in 2000, for 23 years has continued to serve the people with boreholes, and this is contrary to the standards of an urban setting. Urban centers like town councils do not deserve to have boreholes, and these boreholes, if you look at the quality of water that is yielding from this kind of the boreholes is quite alarming. And if you compare the water quality from the borehole and those from the wells, okay, the streams where people get water from, you may, by the look of things from your eye, you may say the water from the stream is far cleaner, okay? It's far cleaner than these ones from the boreholes. And that has been attributed, according to the health officers, it is attributed to the open defecation, the shallow toilets that people have dug all over, and also looking at the altitude, okay? The altitude of the area. There are some of the water that has been piped, okay, the tap waters that have been collected by some individuals. But because of the taxes, people cannot afford to continue having this water in their vicinities, because that kind of water goes at 200 Ugandan shillings. But unfortunately, according to the business persons, the town council also charges 200 shillings on a jerrycan, and this has rendered them really into a lot of losses. They have felt that they have been kicked out of the business by the town council officials, and many of them have closed off their taps from that kind of business. And this has escalated into a lot of waterborne diseases. Talk about the cholera, the bilharzia worms that we have, the some of these other diseases that you can get from a contaminated water. Typhoid is something that is coming really seriously, and many people were wondering why a 4-year-old child should be able to have typhoid, and the explanation was like, this child has eaten feces, okay, but when they traced the history of this disease, they realized that the child did not actually pick feces and ate it, but it was the water that people were consuming. When tests were done, most of the water in the town council were found to have been contaminated with human feces, and so many of these people who are consuming water in the town council have drunk the water with the feces, and those are things that are coming up now. And there are yet no interventions towards pulling people out of that. Yet so many explanations were demanded by community members. Remember, there was a community baraza organized by West Nile Regional Civil Society Network, which works in consortium with Palisa Civil Society Network, but also talking about many other partners that are working in this. And Coordinate Uganda, one of the community-based organizations that has rooted itself in the town council, has come out to say that actually many people do not know where to get clean water. They are now preferring moving away from the boreholes to the streams, and that is really attributed to the quality of water that is coming from the boreholes. But also many of these boreholes were drilled some years back, 15 years ago, 30 years ago, and so on. They were there before even the town council started. Others were constructed, drilled before even Yumbe became a district. And those are some of the things that were really explained around there. But Also, changing the pipes is another thing, because the town council receives 380 million Ugandan shillings under works department. This includes the issues to do with the road, the issues to do with some of the construction works, including the boreholes that you may talk about. Also connecting the town council with the tap or piped water system is another issue, because roads have not been really opened widely in the town council because of limited finances. So for some of these utilities to move, they need the roads demarcated so that there are no interferences. You have ever witnessed a lot of pipes being cut when they are opening roads or enlarging roads or even rehabilitating roads. These have been really so much witnessed in other urban settings, and these are coming because there are no plans drawn for this kind of construction works, and that could easily come when this kind of things are put in place earlier before some of those kind of utilities are fixed. Let's take a break. I will be coming to continue from there, because now we are at the time of break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Football, our boys, our style. Star Times UPL new season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish for Master Kukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL, our league, go for it.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Okay, let's come back from that commercial break. I appreciate you who has been watching us from the start of the hour, that was 7 a.m. up to this time. We are still moving on with some of the issues that are happening in the Western region. But remember, the issues to do with the tap water system that is lacking in Yumbe Town Council is a very big blow in terms of the health of the people, and serving 23 years beyond with the boreholes in the town council is quite embarrassing, because the policy says there should be no borehole in a town council or in any urban area, because the only urban setting that we see in Yumbe district is the town council, and that's where the main market is, where most of the offices are, where all the utility services are expected to be at the height, because that is the heart of Yumbe district. So the leaders, and since this is a planning season, and we are now doing consultations for the 2024-2025 financial year budget, we should be able to incorporate the aspect of connecting the whole town council with piped water system. And remember, this piped water system is managed by National Water and Sewerage Corporation, which has the mandate to really ensure that quality of water is ensured. And the quality assurance will only come when we have really an official connection by National Water and Sewerage Corporation. But the issues of taxes, fighting really the business persons of a truck is not something good. If you have other avenues of taxing, let's not really tax beyond what we have, okay? And then you have value added tax that is already put on water, 18%. Please, local governments, let's look at those kind of things, and see that people are able to really get the best of the services that we have in our areas, in our regions, to improve on some of the quality of services that are delivered at every service point. Okay, those are very important. If we cannot really address ourselves to the quality of services, we will continue to have people who are sick, people who are not who are non-productive, people who are not going to really take us anywhere, because we have a sick population. A sick population is not productive. A sick population cannot really articulate developmental issues, and that means we will not really grow any further. We'll continue to complain. And remember, Yumbe district is one of the districts in the region that has the most, I may say, the biggest number of implementing partners that are in the refugee settlements of BDBD and many other clusters that we have in the district. And many times you realize that these partners, the interventions are tailored towards just within the settlement. They have not gone extra mile to do other constructions. And if you look at the district headquarters, it is still in the traditional way, like the one of a rural district since those times. And if you go to some of these newly created districts like Maracha, like Madiokolo, like Terego, they have storage facilities where councillors are already upstairs talking, debating. When you are debating, you have fresh air coming the other side and so on. But in Yumbe, I was so quite embarrassed when I saw buildings that are just flat like that, and they really could not symbolize that this district has celebrated over 20 years in existence. It is still traditional. What can the district leaders do to really move further and really get services or support from these partners? You have so many partners that are always there with you. But what is the benefit of having these partners? Because at some point, they may move away from here. What will they leave for the district to continue with? It will be infrastructure that you can really at least see that you continue to use, that can generate money for you, that can be able to really do a lot of services to the people. But if you are debating issues of development, incorporating partners, accepting partners, but you cannot even tap a needle from a partner, this is quite embarrassing. If the people, the host community who are hospital to these refugees, they are not even getting the services, they are not consuming clean water. And in the refugee settlements, you find a lot of taps. Okay, you find a lot of taps. You have a lot of water from water tanks that are very clean and so on. But here, the host community members are drinking dirty water and so on. Where does this put the health of the population? Who are those who will remain as citizens in Yumbe district? And then Yumbe will be all dominated by foreigners, just because we have failed to care about the local people, the communities who are providing land for the refugees, who are providing land for the establishment or for office spaces for these partners. If you move to the town council, you realize that before you even reach the junction heading to the town council, a lot of signposts, and many people were telling me that those are just like a cow passing with the breast, and you cannot even bother to milk the cow. So what is it that you are benefiting from the cow? Instead of every time taking it to water, taking it to food, and so on. Those are some of the things we need to really work about. And moving away from that, the issues of companies really playing around with the laws that we have in this country is still threatening. You have multinational companies that are so much moving away from the laws of this country. You have for instance, in Western region, we have Meridian Tobacco that buys tobacco from DRC, from South Sudan, and within the region. And you have a lot of tobacco and its related products that are coming into the region. What is it that the companies are able to comply with? What is it that is really bringing a lot of difficulties for the people to really have a lot of things to do with? And those are some of the things we want to really understand from this kind of conversation. And you realize that many times people have to spend a lot of money in coming up with maybe to the last resort of getting money from tobacco. You will understand that for an acre of land, you have to spend like 4 million Ugandan shillings to raise tobacco up to the final stages of selling. But from an acre, you will understand that somebody is able to get sometimes 1 million or 1.5 or at least 3 million. This is a deficit or a challenge, or you have bad debts or money that is excess that you are paying to the company or spending in doing work at this farm for close to 1 million excess, and yet you are getting at the end of the month or at the end of the production season, you get 3 million and you feel like you have gotten a very big money. And that is one thing that has really contributed immensely. And according to so many research that has been conducted, you realize that tobacco production costs 600 million trees every year in Uganda, and that's one thing that we really need to look at. Many trees are falling down, and we are not replacing them, and this has caused a lot of changes in the weather pattern, a lot of changes in what we do right now. We are experiencing heavy rains at a time when we are not supposed to. We are experiencing drought when we are supposed to expect rains. We're experiencing sometimes at night hot temperatures when we expected to be relaxing and enjoying cold weather. And those are some of the things that come around this kind of activities that we do. But looking at the implication, the health hazards, you realize that 7.1 million people worldwide die of tobacco-related illnesses. Talk about tuberculosis, talk about lung cancer, talk about liver cirrhosis, talk about many other diseases. And those are some of the things that are really seriously coming from the verse of tobacco. But I remember there are so many people who have not been paid, especially in Western region, because of some of the linkages or the gaps that exist between the buyers and the sellers. Okay, the communities actually grow this tobacco from the nursery bed and up to a situation where you prepare it to be sold to the company. But some of these companies have taken off with people's money. Talk about Alliance One, which really came here and also collected people's tobacco. Went with it. Up to now, many people have not yet gotten their monies. This is close to 9 billion Ugandan shillings that has not been received by the farmers. And these are some of the frustrations people go through. You have spent like 4 million in an acre. At the end of the year, you don't get money. Up to this time, no money has come to the people. And in the Tobacco Control Act, that is 2015, as amended, clearly bars companies from advertising tobacco products and sponsoring any project or show or talk show or so in this country, but also communicating about their activities is also not needed for this country according to that law. But also the issues of manufacturing tobacco products, okay? Manufacturing tobacco products, talk about cigarettes, talk about many other things. There are some gums, chewing gums that come out of tobacco products. And these are some of the things that are not needed to be done in this country. And if you come to buy tobacco or maybe encourage farmers to grow tobacco, you are supposed to do the needful by just processing it for export. For export only, not for consumption within the country. And that is one thing that has been really well stipulated in the law. And if you look at currently the situation in this country, you realize that many people are smoking cigarettes, this tobacco, even the raw one, even those that were processed, those that have been added value. They are using them openly, and open smoking is one of the dangerous things that contributes to the illnesses. Even if I'm not a smoker, but I have passed via somebody who is smoking, I'll be able to get that smoke from him. And through passive smoking, you will easily contract the disease in turn, the active smoker. According to scientists, many people who have gotten TB, who have gotten these cancers, these many other diseases, the respiratory tract infections, many contract this through passive smoking. Passive smoking is when somebody who is smoking is near you and you have been able to really get the smoke coming from him into your lungs, and that is through the nose. Maybe even when you are yawning, you have already been able to absorb some of the air in, and that's how you'll be able to get some of these kind of things. But also at the time of production, you have seen how people's skin changes. Many times people become very dark and darker, and that is one of the irritations that come to the skin because tobacco is so toxic. And also look at some of the fertilizers that are used that are not really that are mostly chemicals that are mixed up, and they are inorganic, and this affects the soil fertility. And many times when people grow crops, you will realize that it makes crops not to yield in a very good quality. But sometimes we have seen many times the sweet cassava turns its bitter in some occasions when you plant them at such a field, and the man of the land in this region has actually lost its facility because of these kind of things. And those are some of the things. Let's get to the production department and see whether we'll be able to get one of these persons that I spoke to, that is Anglo Godfrey, who is an economist and a political, an active politician in this city, that is Arua City. He's the area councillor representing Aivu Northeast, and he really has a broader perspective of how tobacco has been able to change the lives of the people. Whether negatively or positively, you will hear it from there, and also really look at the implications of growing tobacco in this country, how it has been able to affect, and also how these multinational companies that are dealing in tobacco have been able to beat the laws that we have in this country. Yes.
My name is Anglo Godfrey. I'm the city councillor for Iowa Division North. That's the former Manibe in Aroi sub-counties. The issue of tobacco growing in West Nile, actually tobacco has been attributed as one of the cash crops which has deterred the people of West Nile from growing and removing them from urgent poverty. First of all, when tobacco came, if you don't do the cost-benefit analysis of the tobacco production and sale, you literally think that you're making a lot of money from tobacco. First of all, the process is long. We must start with the first tiling of the garden, second tiling, up to the time of raising the nursery bed, the seedlings, then you go to time of planting, weeding, and the entire process of processing the tobacco for it to reach to the final stage where you can be able to take to these companies for sale. And if you factor in the labor that you use, most people in West Nile, they use family labor. But when it comes to costing their cost of production, they don't consider that. Ideally in business, even if you're using your own energy to do work for the business, that must be costed in terms of labor. So literally, you realize the expenditures people incur while producing tobacco versus the actual money they get is very, very huge. So therefore, people spend almost the entire year to take them through the process of tobacco production. But finally, when tobacco comes out and you see the money they're getting, it doesn't really tally. And that's one of the things, invisible things people have not been looking at. Then two, of course, tobacco production also damages the soil because the continuous use of the land, it keeps on draining the soil nutrients, which makes most of our soils in West Nile to become very, very fertile and leading into, nutrients being depleted, and you can't now be able to produce other foods. Then three, it also led to food insecurity. While you're focusing on producing tobacco for sale, people at home need to eat food, and who produces the food? The same farmers are supposed to be the one to produce the food. So literally, people spend a lot of money in producing tobacco, and that also causes food insecurity. So, by and large, doing the comparative analysis of tobacco, tobacco in West Nile has done more of harm than good here. But I'm happy with the continuous sensitization of the public. People have come to realize that really it's not only tobacco which can be able to remove them out of poverty. That's why they have embarked on other forms of food items. So people are growing cassava, simsim, beans, and maize. As you're growing this for sale, you also grow and feed your family. With the increasing population, and that the demand for food is ever increasing. So you never go wrong when you produce food products. So I'm happy that in West Nile, over 99.9% of the people have moved away from that mindset that for you to get money, you must only grow tobacco. They have already engaged in other items, and that's something I've seen. If they continue to have that now commercial production, we're going to see a better West Nile in the future.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, the issue of tobacco production has not been totally banned in this country. Meaning there are those companies that still have the opportunity to engage farmers in the production of the tobacco. We used to have big companies like the British American tobacco that gradually pulled out. Now it leaves the Meridian tobacco as like a sole buyer of tobacco in West Nile. So really, of course, in business there are a lot of challenges with the monopoly. That tendency of exploiting farmers. Farmers can be given a lot of targets to produce tobacco, and also different grades of tobacco production. But when it comes to the actual sale of this tobacco, they may bring in new restrictions on the grades of tobacco that they can buy at a given price. So meaning if at that production year your produce doesn't match what they wanted, it makes you to reap less. And that's the disadvantage of monopoly that we are facing as far as having a company producing is concerned. By and large, to remove our people away from that, we are doing that mindset change of giving them the alternative source of income that they can be able to engage in to raise money, not necessarily looking at the production of tobacco.
What does the manifestation of different tobacco products on the market show, looking at the Tobacco Control Act that we have in this country?
Well, of course, when you look at the tobacco products in the market, it manifests itself into numerous health complications. We have high cases of tuberculosis that we see here, the liver cirrhosis, and also this mental illness. A number of them are being attributed to the use and consumption of tobacco products. So literally, if you move here in West Nile, you see a lot of those kind of cases. You go to the hospital here, you see a whole TB ward, and if you trace their history, most of those are people who have been using tobacco products, and that's the implication. And then also the issues of liver cirrhosis. That's one of the areas where we see the bad implication of the use of these tobacco products within our markets here. There are so many products of tobacco, and most commonly that we see are the cigarettes that people smoke. And there are those who smoke, there are those who put under their tank, and I also see there are those, is it called sisa, people put in some water, and then you know. So there are so many forms in which tobacco products are now have come into our markets. So this they are really giving a lot of health complications to our public. So yes, Tobacco Control Act 2015 as amended gives a lot of restrictions on one, where you are supposed to use, where you're not supposed to use these tobacco products. And also there are a lot of limitations to companies that they are producing this tobacco in terms of advertising, in terms of engaging them in promotion, and what have you. So, but literally you see most of these have not been adhered to. For example, they say, according to the Act, when you're in public, indoor, you're not supposed to smoke when you're indoor, where the people are gathered inside. You're not supposed to smoke in public. And even in outdoor, you must be at least 50 meters away from where people are gathered for you to use these tobacco products. But you can still see in our public places, like in the video halls, even in the buses, there are some people who still smoke in the buses, in these vehicles, in offices. There are people who are smoking in offices, and yet the law says you are not allowed to use tobacco in public. So yes, we have the law, but I think the implementation of that law has not yet been to the dot. That's why we're seeing some of the restrictions are not being put. We're not supposed to do advertisement, but you still see some companies are still advertising their products on radios. on internet, you see that you're supposed to make bold writings like cigarette smoking is harmful to your health. And then I only see it's postman that is following, because I see they will put the lungs of someone, and the person who is smoking, the lungs have become dark. So it actually portrays that's the danger of smoking. So that is what the law requires someone to do. Most of these tobacco products enter into Uganda illegally. Like supermarkets, there are those which are meant for export. Yes, they can be produced here in Uganda, but not allowed to be sold here. So how do they get back? They are smuggled in. And who smuggles it in? The citizens of this country. Some of them are the ones who are also still smuggling these products which are not allowed to enter into our boundaries. So it is through the smuggling that many of them enter here. Yes.
All right, you have been able to hear from that detailed conversation I had with Godfrey Anguyo, who is an economist by profession, but also he is someone who is in the political scene as the councillor representing Aivu Northeast. And we'll be really coming back to analyze what he has said after this break. Let's take a break. We'll be able to come to that.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish for Master Fukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL. Our league, go for it.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Okay, welcome back from that commercial break, and remember you are really watching the Kokoliriko show that comes every Monday up to Friday. We started all this at around 7 and we are closing this just 10 minutes to 9 a.m. That's where we'll be able to give time for you to understand detailed in Lugbarati what really transpired throughout yesterday and today, and what are those breaking news that you'll be able to really catch up in the local language. And those are for the best Lugbara speakers, Lugbara people who can understand the language well. They'll be able to understand those in the news at that time. But we are still back on the issues of tobacco production, tobacco sale, tobacco marketing, and many other implications of tobacco. And those are some of the things. If you have been following this from the start, we were able to bring for you a live interview that we did yesterday in the evening with one of the persons, a special an economist and somebody who has the knowledge of an economy, how it is governed, how it is developed, and so on. And he's a councillor representing the people of Waivu Northeast to Arua City Council. That is Angwa Godfrey. He explained a lot of things. I may not go much into them, but if you go to many of the issues that are really currently happening because of the porosity of the border that we have between the nations. You know, Uganda is a landlocked country. It is very difficult for Uganda to fight sometimes some of these issues that are happening, especially the issues to do with smuggling. The smuggling of these cigarettes is mostly attributed to the porous border entries, but also the market that has been found in Uganda, because many of these products are produced in sometimes in DRC, sometimes in South Sudan, and this, if you look at those sackets where the packets where these cigarettes are packed, you realize that sometimes they are meant for export. The export is now in Uganda, and these are some of the things that we are wondering why and how these get themselves into the markets. And I was able to interact with some of the people who deal in tobacco, and because of the sensitivity of the matter, they pleaded that it should not be recorded and really relayed on TV live like that. And those are some of the things that we'll be able to share with them. And you realize that many are saying because of the laws that we have in this country, it is difficult for them to really continue with the business. But at some point, if they have not caught up with them, they can really do the business. And if you look at reports by World Bank, actually World Health Organization, you realize that the harmful impact of tobacco that is really manifesting in different forms, okay, in different forms, and its products and so on, is very, very huge in the global scene. You realize that 15%, okay, because of maybe the tobacco being in public and so on, 15% of boys and 13% of girls between the ages of 13 to 15 years start smoking annually. And this is a report that was generated by World Health Organization in 2022. And you realize that now children start smoking from the ages of 13 to 15. Girls smoke, that is 13% of the girls across the world do smoke from the age between 13 to 15. And boys start it from the same age, but the percentage is a bit higher, which is 15%. Now, if you tabulate how many people are in the world and do 15% of this, you realize that a very good number of millions of people are smoking cigarettes or smoking tobacco-related products at the age of 13 to 15. And these are some of the things that we really need to tackle very, very keenly. And it is estimated that 204 Ugandans weekly die because of tobacco-related illnesses, and this is far much higher than the tuberculosis and HIV, including malaria and accidents that record deaths in Uganda that we fear so much. And that means there's so much that we have not unpacked about tobacco and its related products. So that means the Tobacco Control Act needs to be expedited in terms of enforcement. If we cannot really move further to enforce some of these laws that we have, we will continue to really have registered this 204 weekly cases of death due to tobacco-related illnesses. We may say somebody has died because of cancer, but if we follow the case how it started, you realize that this person has died actually from a tobacco which was behind and decided to culminate into another disease that has maybe claimed the life of such a person. And this is very, very important. And you realize that tobacco now kills more than HIV, more than tuberculosis, more than malaria, and more than accidents that have been really so much talked about. And look at Uganda's perspective. You realize that 1,020,500 men across Uganda really die more than women, and this is one thing that we have been really be able to highlight here. And if you look at those statistics, this was just last year. 2022 is not far away from 2023, and we are still in 2023. That means more are dying because of this, and then we need more interventions towards this. If they are, just like Angio said, if there are some social media posts that are really trying to market tobacco and its related products, what can a government do in relation to this? What does the law say in relation to marketing or publishing anywhere the tobacco and its related products? Okay, in terms of marketing it, in terms of making people attractive to it. Just like people marketing, talk about drinks. You have seen people marketing alcohol, but at the end of the marketing, they say it is harmful to your health. You see that excessive drinking of alcohol is harmful to your health, and that means we need not actually to market some of these products, including even the alcohol. And we have seen so many people claim their lives because of excessive drinking. But even if not excessive, some people have some other illnesses that were already there with them, but because the alcohol has come, it activates many of these kind of things, and those are things we need to really look at so many times. If you want people to move away from that, if we want people to be rescued, okay, those are some of the things we need to really do. And the laws are there. Uganda has so many laws since 1995. Okay, we have so many laws that are outdated, that do not suit the modern era now. There are so many strategies people are using that have not been fixed into the laws. Talk about many other issues. You may talk about drug and substance abuse, and the narcotic and psychotropical acts that we have in this country. They have not incorporated some of these products that have come in. And they also talk about the Tobacco Control Act. It does not talk about some of these things like shisha that have come in, like the chewing gums that are manufactured out of tobacco. Okay, there are some chewing gums that are having flavor of tobacco and its products. So you must really be aware that some things have changed. So we need to amend some of these laws that we have to suit what is happening now in order to fight the battle if we want to catch up with the world. Because now if we have a situation like many people dying and we don't seem not to fight much about tobacco, we are looking so much into taxes. Because these companies that come into the country that are encouraging farmers to continue growing tobacco are the companies that have continued to pay taxes to government. And what does that tax payment mean to the local persons who are affected by this kind of thing? That means people have not been so much protected by the acts or the laws that we have in the country. So those are things that we need to look at if we want to really fight some of these cases of deaths that we have in this country. But also, if you look at Western region, it has been placed in a fertile land where many of the activities are agricultural. And you realize that looking at the extremism of poverty that has really been witnessed in the region, you realize that many people are still poor. They have continued to be vulnerable because they feel like tobacco is the only alternative that could pull them out of poverty. And you realize that because of the zeal to grow tobacco, many people have left aside growing food crops. And this has really brought a lot of poverty, a lot of famine, a lot of malnutrition in the region, arising from this activity of tobacco production. And we need a really concerted effort. Much as we have these other interventions by government, we have not seen them yielding so much. So we need to strengthen the implementation of the livelihood programs to really make people come out of this, but also tighten the belt of smuggling. This is a kind of illicit financial flow into the country. That means the value of Ugandan shillings may not be realized, since we have a lot of money coming in the names of goods that have not been noticed. Talk about the tobacco products. Talk about showmen of these products that are coming from outside that have not been noticed through smuggling, but they continue to manifest in the country. And that is one thing we need to look critically if we want to fight the battle to do with tobacco and its related products in the country. But also bridging the gap between the business persons and the government itself. You have the available means of kicking out a product. Okay, the government has the lock for that. If you increase taxes on tobacco, trust me, nobody will grow tobacco here anymore, because the cost incurred in growing, incurred in selling, incurred in also trying to get back the money injected in tobacco will be very meager, and people will opt out of this. Why can't government take such a stride to really increase taxes on this and kick out some of these companies that are encouraging people to grow tobacco here, instead of all the time treating tobacco-related illnesses that we have seen over the years and so on? And this really continues to affect the economy. The performance of people really going into production of coffee that earns for us a lot of money than tobacco. Why can't we really do any other thing around this? Or maybe the companies are paying much to government that the government doesn't want to lose them. And those are some of the things which really come around our minds. We need to understand for us to really do it better. And if we want to fight tobacco, once we fight tobacco, we will be able to have soil fertility regained. We'll be able to have our forest cover replaced, because many people continue to dig or cut down a lot of trees. They continue to dig a lot of land to grow tobacco instead of food crops that you can consume. Even if there is no buyer for it, you can eat it. These are things that we need to do. As a government, let's really do a lot in terms of ensuring the safety of our people. Ensuring safety under the pretext of promoting tobacco is one thing we need to really fight. If we want to kick out tobacco, we need to really look at the available laws. If they are not suiting, let's increase taxes on tobacco and its products. That's when one way we'll be able to avoid some of these kind of things. If we have deaths related to tobacco which are higher than even the malaria that we are attracting a lot of donors to support us in, why can't we take something serious to do with the tobacco? And those are things really we need to do for our safety, for the betterment of this country. If we want to really move further, if we want to promote other crops, we need to deal away with tobacco so that we're able to maybe promote coffee that the country is getting a lot of returns from. And instead of really focusing on tobacco, which is seen nowhere in promoting the economy in terms of the economic growth, and the value of its products are not really seen in the population. I've not seen somebody saying that I've built maybe a storage facility because I was able to grow tobacco. I've not seen that. There are so many people who have continued to put in the same dress that is like the color of a cow, year in, year out, just because he's a tobacco farmer, just because he's every day there watering the seedlings and raising this tobacco. You come to the company that is buying the tobacco, they tell you come next week, come this year until this 9 billion accrued. And these are things that we need to understand there and really take a leave from them and make sure maybe have a lasting resolution about tobacco. Can we say we don't want tobacco in this country and we mean it? Those are some of the things we need to really look at as a nation if we want to build a concrete country that is able to finance its activities. If we have coffee promoted, because of now the money that we have seen that coffee is bringing, that's next to tourism, we could be doing better if all farmers focus on growing maybe coffee and hass avocado that we are currently marketing. These are some of the things that people will be able to really take and get more money from. Because coffee, you don't need to really dig more land every year in, year out to grow coffee. Once you have planted them, it's just a matter of weeding them, caring for them, and making sure that they are okay for sale. And that is it all. Instead of applying chemicals, applying fertilizers, applying this, do this, and year in, year out, you are growing tobacco in the same place. And once you are growing tobacco, there's nothing like you intercrop it. Not until it is done. And from January up to November, this is where you are still growing tobacco. By December, you are also doing nursery bed for another one. What is this that we're teaching our people? If we want really to have a positive change, if we want to really get something from whatever we're doing, we need to have a lasting solution to kick tobacco out of this country. Thanks a lot. That is it for the Kokoliriko show that we had prepared for you for this week. Most importantly, the last week, the last day of the week for this week. And this is the Kokoliriko show that comes every Monday up to Friday. My name is Federick Dramadri. Up next, we will be having the news in Lubarati with Fete Emmanuel. Behind the camera is Dijon Pro, and behind the production is producer Aldo. And we'll be really bringing you more of these things next week. And have the lovely weekend, and let's chill in the best way. Life matters if we want to meet really again tomorrow. And that's where we are keeping these discussions to a close. Thanks a lot.